All is Dylan leaves us.
Ratings.
We're Neophyte Studios. We're back again with a full fucking house. We've got with us Professor of Fiction at Southern Illinois University, Pinckney Benedict, MFA graduates Dylan Davis, who just ever so rudely exited the scene, and are you using an alias? Should I not out you on
You can
stream?
say my name. I don't care.
Okay.
It's fine.
We have virtual Sarah Gillick, and last but not least, undergraduate at Southern Illinois University, Cleveland Benedict, and I'm Matthew Gordon, MFA of Fiction. So we'll wait for Dylan to get back, and we'll dive in. And so we're playing Middle Earth: Shadow of War, and we have at least one Tolkien expert. What, Sarah, are you anticipating? Are you anticipating good things? Are you anticipating bad things?
I have heard good things about the game
Yeah.
itself. I've never played it. I've never seen any gameplay. But the people that I've heard good things from about the game have not necessarily been into Tolkien, like the
Okay.
work.
Yeah.
So I honestly have no idea.
Okay. So I have heard, this is my first time jumping into the game as well. I'm going to be running on gameplay. I've heard, it's a fantastic game, but the use of Tolkien mythology is pretty rough.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much anything.
Okay,
So
good. So just to temper expectations, and I know it'll start off with a like a recap video because this is technically a sequel.
It's a recap Lord of the Rings. It's
Well,
like
it's a
12
prequel.
hours long.
It's a big prequel. It'll recap the first game. So
So we're not going to get to hear Viggo Mortensen sing?
apparently not. I didn't realize
Oh,
apparently
I'm
there's
leaving.
side campaigns in the game of the year. That's really cool.
Blade of Galadriel. Well, we can, and one thing I want to talk about that I kind of went back through and
Yeah.
thought about and looked at is war literature,
Oh yeah.
right? What the literature of war is, how the literature of war works. And
Yeah.
I mean, the cases at SIU, I've had a lot of students, both graduate and undergraduate, who are vets. I've worked with vets in a lot of different contexts, and so it'll be interesting to see what a game called Shadow of War that is takes place in a world created by someone who was really forged in war, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I think it's fair to say, Sarah, that Tolkien's personality was forged by his horrific experiences in the First World War.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. There's
Battle
a
of the Somme
yeah,
in
he
specific.
said like before he was like 20 years old, all his friends were dead.
all
Right.
of his friends,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it'd be interesting to see, do they make a mockery of war literature? Do they, does this fit into any, particular category of war literature? Does it?
Well, that's
I'm
another
very
good
excited to
direction.
see.
I think it's adherence to canon word literature. That's definitely enough to fill the outer hour. So we'll put a pin in it for just a second, and I'll roll the intro video, and then we'll come back with some thoughts.
I had a family once.
Ah.
A wife
This is beautiful.
and a son. And I buried them along with everyone I even
And you all are getting game audio, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of low, but yes.
What has happened to me? Am I dead? You are banished from death. Cast adrift between the worlds of light and dark. You are bound together, Talion. My life and yours. Who are you, Wraith? I shaped the history of Middle-earth. I crafted the rings of power. Celebrimbor. tortured both you and your king. Perhaps that pain was not in excess. I should have died with my family. I thought you wanted revenge. There is only one way to close the circle. To defeat Sauron. The time has come for a new ring.
What in the world?
The world of men is empty. I have seen it. I have felt it.
Oh my gosh.
In the fires of Mount Doom, a ranger and a wraith, bound together in death, craft the one thing that could challenge the Dark Lord. A ring of power. Power can blind those who seek it, and even the strongest bonds can be broken. The future I have seen cannot come to pass. Death calls to you again, Ranger. How do you answer?
Italian. This is beautiful. Where did you find it?
What's wrong, Lola?
Past is the past. Nothing can be changed.
Let's leave this place. We can go now.
Nothing rings.
The Wraith calls to you. I call to you.
Celebrimbor.
Maybe. There we go. That really carried on, huh?
Ah, indeed it did.
It was
Okay.
long.
So, initial thoughts. What do we
Not
got?
as long as Yakuza cutscenes, though. Those
No,
are
certainly not.
Are not even as long as like concerning hobbits, which is
Yeah.
so. An orc is investigating a disturbance. I would love it if there were just orc cops.
Yeah.
Fort Columbo.
Yeah, all cops are orcs.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but this makes me wish that they were doing the Lord of the Rings TV show. It were going to be animated. You know,
Mm,
They're making an animation TV show that was recently announced.
Really?
Oh, really? Because
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Because it's the only problem with
What
Lord of
about
the Rings is people.
An anime about Rohirrim.
Yeah, I
Really?
heard about that.
Oh,
Yeah, I heard
wow.
about that.
The War of the
Oh,
Rohirrim, yeah.
I love the
Yeah.
Rohirrim.
Same. So
Wow.
hot.
I wish I could fight like that in
It's
real
about
life.
Helm Hammerhand.
Mhm.
Really? And is that the guy who's in the poem, the really famous poem that what's his name?
The Where's the Horse and the Rider?
Yeah. Is that
I think
Tom
so.
Hammerhand?
I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure.
Well, some Tolkien expert you turn out to be.
I don't know why everyone's calling me that. Like, it's not true at all.
Because we have to have a Tolkien expert.
Oh, then I'll just pretend.
Legally.
I mean, you're going to be our French translator when we have the professor on.
What a shit show.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna go super
So
smoothly.
good.
Hey, I took a year of
Uh-huh.
French. I can pretend to try.
I think what he's saying is
Yeah.
what the professor seems to be saying is that okay, so all right, so we're wandering around here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like his fashion sense. I like his hair. I mean, there's a very Sean Bean thing going on.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I mean the animation is absolutely beautiful.
Well, I mean, it's flawless. Like I mean, oh, and you're playing this on your monster machine.
Well, I only
Uh,
have a 2060. No, there is a 3080 in the house. This is not on the 3080. This is on a 2060. But like that cutscene, I mean, the fabric, the hair, the textures are really
Yeah.
what's getting me.
That's
No,
incredible.
it's amazing.
Yeah, this is a very interesting game, and I think I kind of want to kick off the discussion, not to maybe steer it too far in one direction, because I think this could lead into the narrative of War Story. But one of the things that I've referenced him a few times on this stream, but there's a YouTuber named Mr. B Tongue, and he kind of kicked off maybe 7 years ago the initial discussion on games as literature as I see it. And one of the things he said in one of his videos about genre fiction and specifically about Lord of the Rings was that what's been interesting about many adaptations of the Lord of the Rings and anything that takes place in Middle Earth is that they tend to get the spirit of Tolkien wrong. Because this is like a hardline revenge plot, right? Like the story of this game is Talion, who's the player character, is avenging his wife's death.
Okay.
And it just doesn't really fit within the spirit of Tolkien. Vengeance.
No, that's
and,
very much more like stock video game dad trope.
yeah.
Maybe he's a bad ranger.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like you're not supposed to imitate him.
Right.
That's why they made him look like Sean Bean.
Yeah. Right. Right. And
Or at least like this would be like a revenge story like this could be like one little tale among
Right,
like
right.
100 others.
yeah. Right. Because the spirit of Tolkien, if I'm understanding it correctly, is, it's very ultimately it's very hopeful. It's about like there's a reason why hobbits are the saviors. It's not the dastardly and dashing and incredible fighter Aragorn. It's not
Right,
the expertise of Legolas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas in this game, it's like, kill those fuckers who killed your wife, you really good ranger. You know what I mean?
Right, and you're a one-man slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And that really isn't a Tolkien thing either, right? Or I mean, it wouldn't be a virtue in Tolkien.
Yeah.
It could exist in Tolkien, but Tolkien would not mistake it for a virtue, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, but see that, when we talk about, right, war of literature, the literature of war, the war of literature, our war on
War of
literature.
yeah, war.
Changed so
Which
Our war on literature.
we are in the forefront.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think of say a film like Sanjuro, right, which is the sequel to Yojimbo. The great Akira Kurosawa film, and there's a moment in there where an old woman is talking to Sandro, the Yojimbo, the bodyguard, and of course, you know, when I'm seeing this movie at 17 or whatever, and I just love that everywhere this guy goes, he's lopping off limbs. Everybody's spewing blood, like he piles up corpses around him.
Yeah.
And she just says, well, the sword, as soon as you draw your sword, you've lost. Right?
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, that's total bullshit. You know, like, no way. Like, this guy's the coolest guy ever. Kill that old woman, Sandro, and her family. You know, and I just didn't get it. You know, and in many ways, I think I didn't get Tolkien either. You know, that I you know, in the same way that I liked Willard more than I liked Colonel Kurtz. Colonel Kurtz in Apocalypse Now.
Sure.
Right? That you know, the characters who've actually achieved wisdom just bug the shit out of me.
Right.
Now, of course, I identify 100% with Kurtz.
Yeah.
Perhaps too much.
You look a little bit like him.
I've come to look like him. I'm not nearly as tall as Brando, but I'm at least as fat as Brando.
Yeah.
And when I put on my war paint and sit in the corner running a sponge over my head, I come out with some real shit, man.
Yeah.
You know?
I can imagine
you
so.
know, I dreamed about a snail crawling along the edge of a razor.
It's dinner time, Pinckney.
A straight yeah. No, that's what I do at dinner. Like, that's sitting at the table.
Yeah.
Just completely
confirm.
naked.
I can
Yeah,
confirm.
so, but eating a 5-gallon tub of pudding. I'm telling you, man, there's an audience for
There's
it.
layers, man. There's layers.
Yeah.
So many
So
layers.
We live stream it and we could probably get really popular.
I agree.
Yep. I'm saying OnlyFans. I want to make money for it.
Yeah.
From it.
And that's a threat. You understand? That's a threat.
Right.
You have
Either
to
this
pay us.
succeeds,
You
or I go on OnlyFans.
You have to pay us to not send you the images.
Okay. Oh, is this Shelob? Who is this?
Yeah, I've heard rough things about their portrayal of Shelob.
But literally, is this Shelob?
It is literally, and this is what pissed a lot of folks off.
Oh, the
Just a
hot
lady.
lady.
There's just
Ooh.
a lady.
Oh, wait. Shelob is a hot lady?
Shelob is a hot lady. That's
I
it.
feel a lot worse about what Frodo did then.
Yeah. Right?
I was always in favor of that.
Yeah, that's
But
some
now I'm like, he should have dated Shelob.
strange retconning on the part of, you know.
Well, because Shelob was, what's the name of the big spider during the Age of Morgoth?
Goliant.
Yeah, Ungoliant.
Okay,
Wasn't she
not
like
a
daughter of
not a
Ungoliant?
Tolkien expert, my ass.
That's just a simple fact, Matthew.
Right. Yeah.
Right. All spiders. I mean, even the spiders in The Hobbit are descendants of Ungoliant,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
Descendants of Mongolian?
Yes, descendants of Mongolians. Mongolians are spiders in Tolkien. That's he was kind of a racist, so
Yeah.
Super
He was a
racist.
20th century Brit, so
yeah, he didn't like Mongolians much. Yeah, okay. Well, this does make me a little sad. But then again, given that this guy would have been a distinct anti-hero in the Tolkien universe.
Yeah, right. Perhaps it can fit in some kind of strange, not actually part of the universe game.
Well,
if I recall, these were recently rendered non-canon.
Yeah, they had to be, right?
You can't have Shelob be a hot babe.
No.
That's just weird.
Yeah, it's strange. It's a strange move. But I think that this guy goes back to just the concept of adaptation in general, right? Like I find it interesting that, you know, in a story sense, like Peter Jackson did as close as he could, I think, to capturing the spirit of Tolkien. I think that's why those movies
I agree.
are beloved.
I think in Lord of the Rings he did. I think by the time he got to The Hobbit, he had completely lost his shit.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, we're doing this again.
more.
Okay, I know why she's a lady. She has to be a lady so she can get the ring and put it on her hand.
Guess it'd be weird if the spider put it on its claw.
Little.
Oh,
I'd
that
be
was so
down for it.
cute.
Yeah.
It's so dainty.
Well, I like the idea that if when we go back into the Silmarillion, we'll meet Ungoliant and she'll be like a 50-foot tall, sexy woman.
Yeah, right. It's like nobody ever
and
saw
all those,
that.
And all the spiders in the forest will be like little tiny, sexy women.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, we gotta
like
read one back.
100, 1 foot tall, hot women. Wow, I'm kind of liking this version of Tolkien now that I've fully expanded on the fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is.
No, this is still carrying on.
Yeah, it does. It just goes on and on.
Yeah. Well, this is one
Did
of those
we ever
things.
get to do anything besides stab?
Probably not. But like, I feel like the conflict's been set up. Lord of the Rings is a popular enough story that operates on what are now fairly standard principles of good and evil. I don't need this much motivation. Like,
Certainly
you can
not.
just let me
Well,
go.
yeah, stabbing.
Especially because this is a sequel, right? So,
Right.
like, they've had an entire 30-hour game to set up the conflict.
There are a lot of people talking to this dude, though.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of people.
The Monster Hunter skill upgrade, isn't that a whole different game?
Yeah. Indeed.
Well, but so I'm trying to think of literary adaptations to games that that did it right, that got it right, like the Metro games, Metro 2033, and I don't know much about the games following. They really seem like they got it, like they really understood that book, and
I know, Pinckney, you're a fan of the first Stalker game as well.
Oh yeah, well because I mean because you have Roadside Picnic, right, by the Strugatsky brothers, which is a novel or novella. It's not a long novel from the 70s, from Soviet era science fiction, and then that becomes the Tarkovsky film Stalker, which was apparently kind of a for its time, a special effects extravaganza. Then they lost all the special effects footage, and so they just reshot the whole film. They rewrote it and reshot it in this toxic waste dump, and everybody died.
Everyone died.
Right, and then it becomes the Stalker games, and
they are making a sequel.
and Chernobyl.
Wow.
They're making a sequel. Stalker 2 is shown off at E3.
Oh, really? Well, see, but it's one of the things I love about a good story can take any form, right? Like what I'm realizing with things like VR and gaming, right, and all that is it doesn't matter. Like there are games that are way better than novels, some novels, even quite good novels. They're novels that are way better than most games. But a good story can just like shape shift, can move from body to body, from form to form.
Yeah.
And it's still going to be good as long as you get some aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
There are certain basic aspects you can't do without, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I just like the fact that somebody takes Tolkien seriously enough that they're putting millions into, like, Celebrimbor. Like, I didn't know how his name was said. And, Celebrimbor. And I'm like, why is this guy named sort of like Celebrity? That's weird.
Yeah.
But now I know. Now I know how it's said. And I use these, one of the greatest things about the movies was I finally got to see, what the city looked like, right? I finally got to see what Gondor, because in the book it's there's the prow of a ship, there's 7 levels, there are gates there, and it's like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And then they got an expert like Sarah to draw them a picture, and then they made a good model of it. And now I know what that looks like. But then again, now we always have to have the argument about whether the Balrogs have wings.
They do not have wings.
The Balrogs do not have wings, by the way.
There's no reason why they
That's
would.
the definitive. Well, they live underground. Like
Bats,
be like
Right.
a,
no, bats
be
live
like
in
a
caves.
mole
They have
having
wings. But bats have wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, but bats
No,
don't also
they don't.
walk on the ground.
No, they
Well,
don't.
They don't.
those aren't wings. Those are that's like their butt, but it's
Yeah.
kind of flappy.
Right.
No, but bats in the Old Testament are classified as birds,
Ah.
and I don't think you would classify a Balrog as a bird.
Well, there you go.
So,
if we're going on the Old Testament
that's-
definition, then
That's my finishing move for
Yeah.
that argument.
right.
Right,
God
right.
said it.
Right. God said Balrogs have no wings, despite the fact that bats do, because bats are birds and birds have wings. Oh, it's the Gravewalker.
So Matt's getting up to a point in the game that is kind of this game's calling card.
And I will.
You'll go over that.
Okay. Yeah, I would love to talk for a minute because I think Dylan knows more, but going into the Nemesis system. So if I were to let one of these orcs kill me, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dylan, they will gain notoriety in the hierarchy.
Yes.
Ground grunts can become commanders based on their deeds as well as mine. So there's kind of a persistent open world, and as you encounter enemies, it uses like these modular pieces to build out their personality of these randomly generated orcs.
Yeah.
And it'll track them, and they can gain or lose notoriety. They can be like damaged and mortified and be out for blood, or they can be promoted to commanders and they'll interact with you as time goes on.
Yeah. The
That's
Nemesis
cool.
system is really robust. So kind of
And
like what
it's
Matt's.
unfortunate that,
Patented.
and it's unfortunate that they patented it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, it was disgusting, honestly.
Yeah, it was like it's such a shame that especially they've only made 2 games and they could just make more games with it.
It's just a dialogue system. I literally don't understand how it got patented. It's kind of embarrassing, but
Well, essentially how it works is so
Yeah.
from the narrative standpoint is it's Talion versus an orc army, and this orc army has regiments and battalions, and they have platoons and various things, and so every orc you kill or can be killed by is part of this army, and you develop relationships with these orcs over time, like they can become allies.
But you can take them on a date.
Yeah, you can marry them.
What?
No.
I got so excited when you said that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
actually
it's
wish
like
you
the
the
could.
It's like,
vision
wow.
of Lord of the Rings you've always wanted. Now all the orcs are dateable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
Lord
that.
of the Rings dating simulator.
I
don't know, they
love
were pretty
that journey
dateable
for
on the
me.
books. Yeah.
But the thing that ends up being really really cool about it. So like he's looking at one right now. Look, Battle
This is the
Master.
captain.
Yeah, he's the captain
He
that
knows
Matt's trying to
rank
hunt
and
down.
His abilities.
So you can play this army against each other and hopefully it'll show some of his personality traits, because like if he's very greedy or if he's very if he's looking for a promotion, what you can do is then go kill his boss and then say, hey, I killed your boss for you. How about these orcs in this area don't attack me? How about that?
And so I'm in an open-ended scenario too, where I've just got this base to go through. I've got my mini map, and I just have to kill the commander. Go. You've got stealth tools. You've got your arrows. Just go for it.
Yeah. And
Which, as handholdy and slow as the opening was, it's like all of a sudden, all the training wheels are off.
yeah, it's like this
You're
for the
just
rest
on
of the
your
game.
own. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that Nemesis system I just think is utterly brilliant. I can't imagine a better way to kind of frame an open world than to, kind of put you at war with this army.
Well, again, I mean, to go back to the literature of war and the war
Yeah.
on literature, right? Reputation. I mean, that's essentially the Iliad has that same system,
Yeah.
right? I mean, because to the Greeks, I'm trying to remember the 2 kinds of reputation that Achilles wanted, right? And like when his handmaid is taken away
cool.
from
He's
him.
arrow-proof.
Yeah, it's just thing said he was arrow-proof. Did he just call him darling?
Yeah, they talk shit on you a lot. and also
Really?
the dating.
So-
yeah.
So he
Oh,
said,
cool. I think I'm
darling.
getting a random person killed because
Yeah.
I decided to.
Because you shot an arrow-proof man,
Yeah.
a sexy
Uh,
arrow-proof man.
But so yeah, Greek warriors, I mean, their whole thing was fighting for reputation. There was no, yeah, I mean, the afterlife was not going to be great,
yeah.
and right, and so you saw both a kind of in your lifetime fame, and you saw a kind of fame or reputation that would live on after you. And so those two sorts of fame or reputation, that's all throughout the Iliad. Like much of the action, Achilles actually retires from the war action because Briseis, his handmaid, his
The other
girlfriend,
guy's running away.
is taken away right from
Yeah.
him, and he just goes and sulks in his tents, right? Because that detracts from I guess both kinds of his fame, his reputation, right?
Interesting.
Is that he's embarrassed in front of the people who are around him, but it's also a story that will go down that Achilles couldn't keep his girlfriend.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's so the enmity between him and is it it's Agamemnon who takes her away, right? Or is it Menelaus?
I think it's
I think
Agamemnon,
it's
but I
Agamemnon.
don't know.
Agamemnon's such an idiot. Yeah.
It's so
Uh,
forceful.
He's responsible for like 90% of like Greek and Roman history.
Yeah, well, I mean, but the whole
What a
thing with Briseis
jackass.
was really, yeah. But and by the way, if you love Agamemnon, you have to look up on the internet. Anybody who's listening or watching or whatever you do, look up Rather Good, one word, Rathergood, Rather Good's Agamemnon. That's my favorite depiction of Agamemnon.
Cool.
Okay.
Ooh, sorry. I was checking the stream. So, yeah, and to kind of cap off, I think we'll encounter the Nemesis system a little bit more as we keep playing. But so he just killed one of the Nemeses, one of his.
And so looking at the army here of this section, right? He's dead. This first commander I got information on is dead.
Mhm.
These guys exist out in the world. They're actively doing things. And you've got the higher ups and their leader. So as I progress through this, reclaiming this city, and I'm blanking on it's a named city, right? I'll encounter
Is it
the
Minas
rest.
Ithil? This is before it becomes Minas Morgul.
Is that
Could
what it
be,
was?
yeah.
I've only been
Really?
half paying attention.
Oh,
That's
I've
very
always
cool.
wondered. Yeah, I've always wanted to see the inside.
Yeah, me too.
It looked like there's a big old tower.
Right,
Mhm.
that's and tower. Minas is a tower, right?
hmm
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So when it gets taken over and turned into the Witch King of Angmar who ends up living here?
Yeah, I think it's all of those guys. All
But
the kings.
yeah, so then it becomes Minas Morgul.
hmm
Huh. Damn.
No, I mean, one of the great things about the Lord of the Rings is the layers and layers of history.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, Cleveland said the other day that the Lord of the Rings was sort of post-apocalyptic in that, the party is always walking through ruins of earlier civilizations, wrecked cities, and kings' statues with their heads cut off and wreckage. And, they walk by a northern city and, Aragorn won't even really talk about, what was there, what the city was. And of course, the hobbits have no idea.
Wow.
Yeah.
Legolas is Mad Max.
Legolas is
What's that?
To Legolas, who's old and even still is young for an elf, it's Mad Max.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That explains so much.
And there was but one of the cool things that will probably end up happening though, and this is how part of the Nemesis system works, is that so like Matt kills that one orc captain, right? And depending on how you kill them, they can come back. So so just because he's killed him doesn't necessarily mean he's dead. He could come back, and if Matt had cut his arm off, for example, when he comes back, his arm will be removed, and he'll be called a different name, like Ukbuk the One-Armed.
No way.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's its whole deal. And so you build your.
How do they
path
come back? How do they come back to life though?
It's random. It's RNG. There's a chance they can survive, and
so you just left before he was dead.
Yeah,
you
actually
left
no,
him for dead, but he wasn't really dead.
Yeah.
So.
Right, and there's no gameplay feedback for that. It's just a chance. It's something that can happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, so every playthrough of Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War should technically be unique.
Yeah.
With the Nemesis
Right.
orcs that you build.
See, but that's where AI is gonna really play a big role in games, right? Because people want that. People want a unique experience within a framework,
right?
And it is their narrative, and AI is going to be able to like dungeon master your games for you.
Right. And like the data points it's tracking aren't even that sophisticated. There's just a lot of them and really clever writing to back it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's really amazing how like, so if Ukbuk the one-armed comes back to fight Matt, he'll be like, "You remember when you cut me motherfucking arm off back in the Minas whatever?"
Right.
I did a really good
whatever.
Minas whatever, huh?
I like that. We should do our version of. Have you seen the videos of orcs talking like regular people?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh, look them up. There's scenes from the movie, and the orcs are like, I smell man flesh. And the other guys, and all the orc exclamations are things like, they're going, oh, golly.
Isn't that basically the plot of that one Russian novel?
I have no idea.
The Last Ring Bearer?
The Brothers Karamazov?
Yeah.
War and Peace? I don't know. Which one? Which
Russian novel that's like, that takes the premise of the Lord of the Rings as sort of history is written by the victors from the point of view of the elves, where...
Oh, yeah, you've told me about that. I know nothing about that book.
Nor do I.
Is it any good, or is it...
It actually can't legally be published in English in the U.S., so we'd have to find a pirate copy, but...
Sarah could translate it for us. Her Russian is as good as her French.
But
well, that's true.
It's basically like the orcs are these people on the these people on the edge of like an industrial revolution, and the elves who don't like that seek to propagandize and wipe out the orcs who. And that Lord of the Rings is itself this work that's history is written by the victors from the point of view of the elves. And like Aragorn and the hobbits aren't bad guys, but they're all like puppets of the elves and such.
Gotcha.
That's interesting.
So, just
leave it to Putin to come up with some bullshit like that.
Some fucking Putin, huh?
Fucking Putin.
It's a book from 1999.
Well, you think Putin wasn't alive in '99?
That man is
probably
old.
still in the KGB or whatever it had become.
Yeah. All right, so I think somewhere along the line we lost track here.
No.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm interested in talking about now, though, is that so we have a war narrative and we have a revenge narrative, and I'm wondering what other types of. I mean, I guess that that the Iliad is somewhat of a revenge narrative, right? Or am I thinking of?
Hot takes.
I mean, yeah, in that they, Paris stole Helen, and and so her husband and his brother get together, the great Hellene army, and go and camp out outside Troy. So they're there to like get back at him, not for killing his wife, but for stooping his wife, I guess.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because I'm just trying to think of examples, because I don't think that this can be considered a good Tolkien story, right? It just doesn't do enough Tolkien to be a good Tolkien story. but it can be a good revenge story and it can be a good war story.
Yeah, it's sort of like, I mean, they're using a lot of the, they're using names and places and things like that, and
I mean, that's a lot of work that's been done, and it's almost as much work to comb through it all and compile your narrative out of those pieces as it is to just do it yourself.
yeah, no, I mean, it's pretty neat that people. I mean, what a time it is to be a Tolkien scholar, right?
Mm-hmm.
That 20 years ago you were just some idiot, who spent his time reading children's literature, and then the next thing you know, you're Tom Shippey and Netflix is paying you buku money not to talk about anything Lord of the Rings on, because Tom Shippey was on the Monster Professor. He was on Josh's podcast, but he was NDA'd on anything to do with Lord of the Rings.
Wow.
So they talk about
Well,
Chaucer.
This is Warner Brothers, right? They must have paid people, Tolkien
Oh,
experts.
there's so many. I mean, I don't. And Corey Olson has made a whole living out of being the Tolkien professor, and he's not even one of the consultants. Like he's just a Tolkien dude, and he's founded Mythmoot, and I mean, he's so yeah. I mean, Chaucer scholars must be angry as hell. They're like,
Right.
What if you're a Marlowe scholar, or I don't know, Mallory,
Yeah.
and you're like,
I hear
what?
Japan's paying good money for Arthurian scholars.
Oh, really?
Because,
Sure, as an Arthurian expert. So.
well, and I know Japanese, so we should work together. And
I agree.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's exactly as good as my French.
But yeah, it must be strange to have suddenly entered, from having been a niche thing to being at the center of so much of the culture now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that is very interesting because like Tolkien got picked. You know what I mean? Like it's great
Right.
literature, but it's interesting that it got picked to be the thing that Peter Jackson decided.
Right,
to
but
make a
like, yeah,
movie series
nobody did this with the Gormenghast novels, right? With Mervyn Peake's Gormenghast. There's like a bad BBC TV version of
Right.
Gormenghast, which, and the Gormenghast novels are vast, and so maybe that's what we'll do.
on. Yeah, sure.
That's what Neophyte Digital's big project will be.
Yeah.
We'll do the
Yeah.
Gormenghast novels as a revenge
No.
story.
Finally, what the world's been clamoring for.
So
Yeah.
for those of
all
you who
five people will be excited.
Do you know Gormenghast? Does any of you
I've-
any of you read Mervyn Peake's Gormenghast?
Nope.
It's really interesting because it's the anti-Tolkien. It's all inward and downward, right? It's a horror story that takes place within this moldering castle called Gormenghast.
So
But
it's
the
Dark
castle's
Souls.
like, what's that?
It's Dark Souls.
yeah.
I don't know Dark Souls, but it's and the castle is like a city. I mean, it's like a hive, and the whole first novel, which is like 1,000 pages, takes place. The main character, Titus Groan, is not even born until the end of the first novel
Wow.
of the trilogy.
Wow. Crazy.
It really is. I mean, it takes a lot of patience, but it's an amazing work of horror structured fiction.
Yeah.
So maybe maybe Dylan, you were talking about a quest story that turns into a horror story,
Right.
and maybe Gormenghast is a good example.
Yeah, I
of
was
that.
just thinking the same thing. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look that up now. But I'm curious, particularly in Sarah, because I didn't realize this, but apparently I had no idea. For this, okay, so I didn't even know about Lord of the Rings until the movies came out. I had never even heard of it. I grew up in Utah. That's sinful literature. I don't know what that,
Which is ironic considering.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know. I mean,
considering
the irony.
that Mormons aren't Christians and Tolkien was. But
Yeah, right. Exactly.
is that controversial, by the way, to say that Mormons aren't Christians?
Here, yeah, it's
I
very
think that would be
controversial.
controversial.
Yeah. In Utah,
Would a Mormon be offended by that?
they might. Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably would be.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. I take it back.
Yeah. Okay.
No, you don't.
They're a different kind of Christian.
But I'm curious to hear what Sarah thinks about kind of just the depiction of this as a narrative which is familiar, right? Like, because I'm assuming that when this turns on, you're like, yeah, I recognize some of these things. I recognize, kind of the iconography of the elves and that sort of thing. So I was just curious what your thoughts were on it.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally see like I'd be able to identify different groups based on like the type of armor they wear and like their names and like the names of the places. I know like where we are. Like I could point it out on a map,
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it's
And
definitely
how
like
does-
recognizable.
See, let me go back to the map. Yeah, how does that look? Decent.
It looks like a map.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Good.
so
Okay.
like
They nailed it.
to the west of us would be like Osgiliath, I think.
Yeah.
Like over on the river.
There's a river right
the
there.
other way.
Oh, there's another river.
On the left there.
Yeah.
To the left of us there. And then Minas Tirith over there. Yeah.
This
Okay.
is Osgiliath.
Yeah, that's exactly what she
Minas
said.
Tirith.
Look,
Yeah.
there's the ship's prow. Can we
Yep,
zoom? Can we
mhm.
zoom in on Tirith?
Yeah.
There you go.
There it is.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
we see like Pelennor Fields in front of it where the War of the Ring was fought.
Yeah, and that's the ruins of Osgiliath. Is it ruined yet? Is Osgiliath a ruin at
It
this
should
time?
be.
It's right here.
Yeah, let's.
here,
I want to
you
see
Lord.
Osgiliath before, because I've only ever seen it wrecked,
Yeah.
right? Because I've only ever seen the ruins of Osgiliath.
Right.
So this is their lore page, and it doesn't. I assume because I haven't traveled.
You haven't
to
been
those
there yet,
locations,
right?
it doesn't have the.
It looks like it's the next place you'd go, though. But it's right there,
Yeah.
ancient capital of Gondor, Osgiliath was also a strategic crossing point over the Anduin. So I'm assuming
Yeah.
that means that it's no longer.
And the Anduin, of course, is the brandy wine, and that's I love that's when one of the pleasures of Tolkien, of course, is etymology, insects, and and so learning that yeah, this joke is going to get so deep, but no, I mean learning that that the Anduin and the Brandywine are the same river, and that the name is Brandywine is Anduin. It's a corruption of Anduin.
Interesting. It's great.
Then
So
when Frodo gets stabbed on Weathertop, Aragorn's like, "Hey Sam, you're a gardener. Look for Athelas." And Sam's like, "What the fuck is that? I've never heard of it." He's like, "King's foil." He's like, yes, I know. It's useless. It's a weed.
See, you want to know about plants in Tolkien.
Yeah, that's me.
I had no
So if
idea.
you're ever in Middle Earth, you'll be able to heal people.
Or
Here on regular Earth, you're useless in that way.
Useless. Yeah, that's
But-
true.
But you'll really come into your own.
So I got information about their commander.
So
Looks
this
like Dave
General
Bautista.
Casimir is the leader of Minas Icelis' military force, proud son of Gondor, decorated war hero, seen by many as the only man capable of keeping Sauron's overwhelming siege forces at bay.
That's a lot of pressure.
yeah,
Yeah.
quite a
Yeah,
bit.
So I
that
also
would give me an
have-
anxiety attack.
These other guards here.
It would defending the world against all evil would also give me an anxiety attack.
Okay, so now because I interrogated that other worm orc, I can choose to reveal any one of these captains.
I want to see one of the ones with the laser coming out of his head.
Well,
He's really
though,
hard to fight.
that laser
So
actually is
broad.
showing relation between orc captains. So this one might have a rivalry with the laser that is connecting him with the other orc.
So you don't know what the relation is. It
Yeah.
could be a love-hate thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
this one is immune to
Complicated.
fire. It becomes enraged when he burns. throws
They're
a chain
dating,
up,
obviously.
Yep.
Comes enraged when he
heavily
burns.
damaged by stealth.
I probably do too, but I just don't know.
Yeah.
Can
I've
be
never
injured by
burned
ranged
sufficiently.
attacks, so I gotta take him out with ranged
You
attacks and stealth.
sneak up on him.
Yeah.
I want to see him become enraged. Whoa!
Yeah. Oh shit.
That was a lot.
Did you set him on fire?
There are those burning barrels, so I assume wherever he's posted up, there's got to be barrels nearby.
Right.
Right. There's the prompt again to use the barrels in the environment. It also looked like I could poison like their water supply, like their water barrels.
Mm-hmm.
That is really not Tolkien.
Yeah.
Somebody's poisoned the
You're a
watering
poison-
hole.
Okay, exactly. Yeah, that's just not a thing in Tolkien. I'd love it if Aragorn was like, "Yeah, we'll just poison their water source."
Be over a lot quicker.
Well, no, I mean there are a lot of costs to virtue.
What if like they just like swallowed the ring, just let it?
So reveal the one that is related. Yeah.
That's connected. Okay, so we're gonna check out this guy as well, which it looked like it revealed someone else too. So this is Zun the Crippler, Poisonous Terror Warrior. He is arrow-proof, becomes enraged when hit by stealth, enraged by his rival.
Oh, so he has a rival.
Captain is his rival.
So if you set his rival on fire, maybe he would deign to love you.
Well, and what you could probably do, I bet. Oh, I'm sorry, Matt. I'm cutting you off.
No, it's fine. Invulnerable to executions. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. What is this? Dazed when swarmed by Morgai flies. What is that?
So there's probably some
Never
nests
heard
of
of 'em.
Morgai flies that you can fuck around with or something. But I bet, and this is the one of the other things I forgot about the Nemesis system that's super cool.
Yeah.
Is that you could either draw the intention of one of those guys and then kind of lead him to his rival, because you'll know where both of them are, and then they'll fight each other.
Yeah.
Because they hate each other, right? And sometimes that kind of shit can backfire, because they can be like, let's work together. You know, they clasp orc arms and they're like, fuck yeah, brother. And then they gang up on you. But
Like Predator.
Cute.
yeah, it is.
Looking for that, I'm not sure if it was like a fictional horror story or it's like an experience, but I read a story a few years ago in this first release about a guy who like had one orc that would continuously hunt him down, and even when he like completely reset the game, it like showed up and kept trying to kill him.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh.
Awesome. The machine is possessed.
Yeah,
No, it really was.
that's funny. That's very funny.
I hope it's true.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But this game just decided, like, this guy is just going to chase the player all game.
Right
He
through,
killed
yeah.
him like multiple times, but he just kept coming back.
With more bandages and fewer limbs. And
Angrier. And again, like he restarted the entire game, like uninstalled it, deleted his save file, and he still came back and was still a much higher level than when he started.
oh, interesting. That's very funny.
So it looks like in the Colosseum they just have humans and they're pelting them with arrows.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Naturally. Oh.
See, that's their version of this.
Yeah.
So if some bulky dude just ran into Matt's room right now and clubbed him to death, we would go, well, Matt shouldn't have just been pelting arrows at the people in the
Yeah.
right.
Absolutely.
Just, he allowed the game to distract him.
So you're just running around.
Your run's a bit
I'm
weird.
trying
The
to
arms.
get to this tower, and it looks like I can take this line to
Oh.
get near it. I've been trying to climb.
I see.
This whole.
I mean,
I love the Assassin's Creed parkour style.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's really beautiful too. Like, I would just
So
live
it's
here.
absurd.
Yeah.
This
You
is
know,
like
I wish they
insane.
would just make VR versions of their environments.
Yeah.
You know, not even have a game, but just be like, you can live in Osgiliath.
Right.
Yeah.
You
This
can
just
tour
Yeah.
these
Yes, it
places.
does just work. Cool.
Just have an apartment there and go visit my friends by doing this.
Yeah, right.
Mhm. Could sell your produce in the town square.
Absolutely.
Live a peaceful life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get stabbed in the Colosseum by an orc.
Yeah, well,
I'll be a mogwai or a mogfly, whatever those things were called, mogai fly
um,
Wait,
exterminator.
no, why? Oh God!
You jumped off the
Wow.
thing.
you didn't even
Ah.
like hurt your ankle or anything.
Oh no! It early on said you don't take any sort of.
Because
fall
you're like undead. You're like a
Yeah.
wraith.
Yeah, right.
But I can just
Oh, am
climb
I?
any
Oh.
building. so
That's
I
another
wasted a
aspect
lot
of the
that.
nemesis that gets played up too. Is that so
Right.
like because you can fight against.
Oh, here's the flies.
Oh yeah, there they are. You can fight
Ooh.
against the against your nemesis in the
Now, that's a
system.
very. Isn't it Hunger Games?
Yeah, no.
where
very
the
much.
girl does it?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
some bees, man.
The iconic line, "Have some bees."
Some bees.
From the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Have some bees.
Yeah, I don't have that. I don't know quite as much about the Hunger Games as I do Lord of the Rings.
No, you got it exactly right.
Oh,
No, it's
did I?
really
Okay,
impressive.
good. I just remember that.
Ow! Why'd you fall?
No, I don't know.
It's like watching a cat, you know.
Yeah, right.
And then, trying to make some real cool jump, and then it fucks up, and then it just kind of stands up like I meant to do
So
that.
what is the Hadir? What is this? What am I doing? And why?
It's a
does
dark
Sauron
palantir. It's the
Okay.
opposite of a palantir.
Which
Is it?
is something.
It's Skype.
I've
Well,
never heard of it.
Hadir, ear is a plural,
Mhm.
right? No, wait.
No,
because-
that would be if it had an I on the end.
yeah, palantiri is a plural. That's right.
Under Shelob memory.
I haven't heard of it.
I think it's made up like the Mogai flies.
It,
I think
it
it's
might
made
be
up.
something from the last game.
Yeah.
Because this seems to be just how you.
Oh,
gain
the barrows?
Region.
Like the barrows that they almost die in right at the beginning of the book.
Maybe
I would assume so.
down there.
Probably some cool swords down there.
City was built on the
Mhm.
ruins of
Some
Arcadia, and
jewels.
Some things
Yeah.
remain. The barrows hidden from Sauron's sight.
Some
I remember
jewels like
hearing
paint.
the history of the guys in the barrows, and like why, if they were good human kings, did they become these awful whites?
Mm.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
1 second. I will be right back.
But it actually makes sense. Like there's actually a really good story behind it.
Yeah, weren't they like the petty kings of like the north? And I forget exactly what happened.
Yeah, but I mean they but the reason that they're like shitty monsters instead of just being dead.
Mhm.
But I just remember now
Yeah.
what that was. Does Tom Bombadil ever show up? Why does Tom Bombadil get left out of everything?
He's too
guess-
silly. He's goofy. He throws everybody off.
Well, but okay, no, I guess, but I mean, like Goldberry, if you can have what's her name be a big spider, I mean, the big spider be a sexy woman. Why wouldn't you have Goldberry in everything?
Yeah.
Like Goldberry is hot as the hammers of hell, right?
Yeah. I love Tom Bombadil. He just would kind of like ruin the mood, I think.
He is the mood.
I mean, it's true.
So we're coming up on time with this game. As much as I've enjoyed it, I learned a lot about Tolkien today. I had no idea.
Yeah.
This went by so fast.
I
Yeah.
mean, this is so chill. There's so much to talk about between all of our shared knowledge. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you know that the only line that Legolas says to Frodo is "and my bow"?
Right. I saw that
In the-
Yeah.
in the- They just don't even know each other. Well, it's movies.
They're
There's
taking
that
the
weird.
hobbits to Isengard. Which hobbits? Who? What are their names, Legolas? What are their names?
All I can say for sure is that they're hobbits.
Well, I mean that's kind of like Star Wars, right? Like, because it's like Obi-Wan Kenobi. When he dies, everybody's like, no. It's like this old guy I knew for like 24 hours,
Yeah, right.
and like Han Solo, who ends up naming his child after him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Han Solo did nothing except go like that old man and his silly religion
Yeah.
for the 12 hours he knew him.
Mhm.
Han Solo is
yeah.
literally just like your local dude, your local weed dealer living out of his van. Like,
with his really big dog.
yeah.
Illidan? What is that a word that carries any meaning to
Yeah.
anyone? What is
Yeah,
it?
it's moon something. It's
Okay.
like the writing that can only be seen by the light of the moon.
Okay, so with my Wraith form, I can read this, and if I find enough of these locations in a map, it unlocks some kind of like secret vault.
Cool.
That's cool. Like a
And
little
it
treasure map.
restore the poem specifically to unlock it.
Interesting.
Okay, so Dylan, you were saying, because we've got
Yeah.
some business to conduct.
Yeah, so that was kind of what I was thinking we could move into while Matt continues playing, and we'll conclude
I mean,
the
this is the
stream.
rest of
I
my
mean, we
night.
could
I'm
have
having a
any
great
conversation we wanted while Matt killed orcs.
That's true.
Mhm.
That's a good point.
Right? Like we could be talking about anything.
time. Oh, I think I just killed a worm instead of interrogating it.
Yeah, you did.
Awkward.
That poor worm.
Cool. Swifter than making his head explode.
Well, the narrative game jam number 4 has begun. We ended up getting 51 entries, and I think they're still climbing. I think we have some late joiners.
It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be nuts. We had a flood of people last night in the Discord server.
Yep. As
So-
soon as it kicked off.
Yep, it was pretty wild, and there's a lot of people looking for teams and stuff. A lot of people who are like there's artists who need coders. It's mostly artists who need coders, which is the
See that, but that matchmaking. I think that's going to be one of the most important things we end up doing.
yeah, I agree.
Is helping
You should
people.
do like speed dating or something.
Yeah, right. Well, if
we should have like a matchmaking session where people get like a certain amount of time with their coder,
And you
with a
introduce
coder.
yeah,
and you introduce yourself, talk about your likes and your plans.
yeah, right.
And pitch your game. Like you get 3 minutes to pitch the game to somebody with the skills to make the game.
Yeah,
And then you
Yeah.
say and then you list like your top 3 most eligible people, and we see like who we can put like the top 3 people who you think you would fit best with.
I don't think I can handle this.
yeah.
And then give them a rose.
Yeah, right.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
anyway. All right, so yes.
Yeah, so the jam has started. Number 4 has started. It'll run for 2 weeks, and then at that point, we'll have some new games to look at. And this is the first one we've ever introduced a restriction. So the restriction for this game jam will be random, which means that your game has to have a randomized element. And I thought
So, like, is that like an orc can come back to life? Would that
Yeah.
satisfy
yeah.
the random quality? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it could be something as simple as like if you have an AI companion, your AI companion makes random movements. It's just there just needs to be something
What
that
does
is
that mean?
well. So like, let's say you're walking through a small area with an AI companion, and then it just decides to wander off at random.
Gotcha.
Like that could be something that you could do, or if you were, if you're gonna maybe try and make a card game, a simple digital card game or something. There's some random element to that, right? Because of drawing cards. Some type of randomness needs to be included, and then the theme that ended up getting selected right at the end. It was like the last 3 people or whatever, right before that poll closed, because we voted on the theme this time. it turned out to be the Horizon, so that's going to be the theme for this jam. So
Wasn't camping taking a pretty strong early lead?
Camping Trip was in the lead almost the entire time, and then Twist Ending came up, and then in first, and then like in the last half hour, suddenly boop, 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 the Horizon was in first. So
Yeah.
What
Oh,
a twist
Horizon.
ending.
I thought you said Verizon.
yeah, Verizon Wireless.
It's like we're
Please
selling out.
sponsor us.
We're
Please
selling out
sponsor us.
so early. Yeah.
Yeah, I may or may
Next
not
time
have
it's
just
gonna
gotten a
be-
job.
The theme is Bush's baked beans. And someone in your game has to say, "Roll that
Wow,
beautiful
I
bean."
really
foot."
like bean.
I had the idea that if I ever get to design a game, I'm gonna get like the weirdest product placement I can. You know,
Yeah.
like Baldwin pianos.
Yeah,
Uh,
naturally. Honda.
Well, you just make those up. You just claim that those people are. Okay, so what else? We've got the.
So that's the
This
game
sounds
jam.
like the fourth game jam is so far our
Underway.
biggest one yet, right?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think we ended up getting more people submitting, or more people in the last one, but we didn't get nearly as many new Discord people in the last
Right.
one. So I find that the Discord people more generally actually finish their games because they're among other people who are posting their game progress every
Right.
day.
So people should come join the Discord if they're not. If
Yeah.
anybody's listening and or watching or taking this in through some
The
sensory
Discord link is on
package
Twitch,
we don't know
it's
about?
on YouTube. You can find the Discord link, and
It's on itch too, yeah. It's on the jam page. So yeah, everybody needs to, if you have any interest in hanging out with like-minded individuals, they have like daily, but it's not a contest, but they participate in a daily thing with each other where they make pixel art and share it, that kind of thing. So everybody should join that. And then the final announcement is this is actually going to be the last stream that we're going to do as the main show on Neophyte. So the Wednesday show is going to get broken up. So Matt's going to take... Are you going to stay on the Wednesday slot, Matt?
Yeah, I'd be happy to stay in this slot. We might end up adjusting the time.
Sure.
Great chance to promote the Discord. If you're in the Discord, I'll run it by, maybe throw a poll up and see if we want to bump this back an hour or something.
Yeah.
And I'll probably go on for longer than an hour too.
Yeah.
Right. You really like the long form.
Yeah, I like just fucking
yeah,
vibing,
no, it's
playing
great.
games,
And
conversation.
Matt and Dylan, since we're talking about this, I would like to talk to you two about me doing something.
Absolutely.
I've talked to Pinckney some, and I want to talk to you two. I have some ideas, and
Awesome.
we can talk and discuss.
Great.
So that's
no.
one new time slot. I'm keeping this one. What are the other new time slots?
I was thinking for me Sunday at 8:30
Okay.
p.m.
Yeah, that could work. And then I'm not entirely sure just yet because my impending move to Germany is going to dictate that time a lot. And it may end up being a time that is either inconvenient for me or inconvenient for people in America. So I'm still trying to figure that out. And I know Pinckney is eventually going to get his dad's show going.
Yeah, I'm going to start that after I'm doing some traveling in July, so it'll be toward the end of July, a little over a month from now.
Okay.
I'll have that together, and I'm going to do 3D building, and I've just figured out how to mask the 360-degree stereoscopic output so that I don't, so that I can just pick parts of it that I want and stuff, and it's
excellent.
looking really cool.
Excellent.
Like this, so I'm gonna kind of include people in the process of my building this visual novel.
That's a great idea.
This,
So productivity,
virtual
art
novel.
stream, learning new 3D asset making, and also
Right.
the development of a
And we'll all be
professional
learning
writing
together
system.
because I'm pretty new to it, right? The writing part of it, the making up the stories part is, I'm pretty familiar with that.
Sure.
But then rendering those things into images, and the whole thing is going to be in 360 stereoscopic. So, and I'll send you all some of the stuff I'm making. Like I'm
Cool.
really surprised if you do 8K 360 stereoscopic is so clear and so vivid.
Wow.
It's really weird to be, face to face with my characters.
Right.
Like
Well,
have
I
them
hope your
looking into my
stream
eyes.
takes I hope your stream takes the kind of shape of like a progress report every week or however often you do it.
That's how I envision it.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
in a way I wanted to keep me productive. I wanted
Right.
to keep me motivated. Like, oh, I don't want to go on there and go, oh, well, this was another week where I didn't do anything.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I want to show off what I did and what I learned to do, and I want to practice what I'm.
You should
You know,
take
I want to
ideas
learn
from
to do.
people. You should like take ideas for like what to make from people, like
Sure.
fan requests.
Yeah,
I think it's a great idea.
that'd be
Yeah.
really cool. And Sarah's
So
getting
that's
a.
our second new show. Sorry, go
Oh, you're
ahead.
fine. You're fine. So Sarah is also getting a new show going at some point, I imagine. Probably.
Yeah,
wanna-
sometime in the nearish future, I'll be playing Sims.
Dope.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's
It's not just playing Sims. You don't just play Sims.
right.
I do
You-
weird shit. I do weird shit on Sims.
You do
I will
social
say.
experiments.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
you really use them like a laboratory.
Mhm.
I mean, the Sims are really your lab rats, right?
No,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
weird
you could
how
say
every
that.
town is named Stanford Prison.
Yeah.
Like that's weird, dude. That's really
Don't know who did that. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
So we'll get that going, and I think in the meantime, what we may end up doing is because the whole point of us separating these shows out is so that we can start generating more content, and we can, have maybe not necessarily smaller discussions, but just basically smaller discussions.
more focused too.
Yeah, more focused discussions, like because I particularly am just really interested in the game jam games. I think that's fascinating to see what those people are making, and I want to do more
It
of
should
those.
just become its own show, right?
Mhm.
Because if half of those people who've entered actually finish games,
Yeah,
right? That's going to be 25 games. Well, there's
Right.
no way you're going to do that in 2 sessions.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So the game jams could just become its own show,
yeah.
where we just get on there and play games from the game jams
Mhm.
and talk about them and stuff like that. That could be its own weekly show
Yeah,
pretty
Yep.
easily.
yeah, absolutely.
And I'd be very interested in doing that.
Yeah. And in the meantime, I'm also just interested in playing some of those other, like Pinckney and, it was just me and Matt, but we ended up playing this one game that I really loved, but I don't know if it fits the main show as much, and it's Kenshi.
Right.
Kenshi's
Right, yeah.
so weird, and it's such a strange game, but it's really
narrative
cool narrative.
generating, like yeah.
Yeah, and in stuff like
Right.
RimWorld, I would like to do a longer form version of RimWorld.
Yes, we really need to do like 2 or 3 episodes on Ringworld.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Rimworld.
really trace out those stories, because Rimworld is straight up exactly the kind of thing I would love to be involved with making.
Yeah, me too. Right. And so that's the kind of thing where like I think Matt will go toward the the long form 2-hour, 2.5-hour streams with like Jay, or like what you guys were talking about with
Anyone.
with anyone,
Shin
right?
Megami Tensei.
Yeah, Shin Megami Tensei, that's right.
That was
Oh,
me.
yeah.
I'd love to do those,
I'd be
especially
so happy to
5.
play some Atlas.
5 looks great. I can't wait for 5.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So like you two doing that, obviously this isn't the end. It's not like I'm never going to talk to Matt again, or Pinckney's never going to say a word to him anymore. So we'll probably end up being on each other's streams over the course of time, but yeah. So I think that's just kind of the best way that we've thought about going about it, because now we have the every other Monday show with my brother who does the history show, then we'll have and that's an hour. And we'll do Matt's show, which is anywhere from 1 to 3. My show will always be exactly 60 minutes. And then if Pinckney and Sarah and I do a playthrough of Rimworld or something, maybe do a 3-week block where you two come on and we do Rimworld together, and then you leave and go do your own shows, and that kind of thing. So
Sure. Yeah.
so
No, that
that's-
sounds great. And I want to do the fishing show.
yes,
I just need to figure that out technologically.
sure,
The,
I can help you
the
figure
fishing
it out.
show. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's going to need to stream. Well, we'll talk about it. But I need the next upgrade in the Quest firmware, because it's going to let you do mixed reality. You'll be able to point your phone, link the Quest to your phone, point your phone's camera at yourself, and you'll be matted into the game.
Yeah,
It's exactly the kind of turnkey solution we've been waiting
Right.
for.
Right. And
Yeah.
and it just, I've had version 29 for weeks, and but some aspects of it just aren't on my quest yet.
Right.
I don't even understand how they do that, and why like 3 weeks ago this thing rolled out and I still don't have it. But as soon as I get that, then my the VR stuff I can do really gets significantly expanded.
Right.
And I want to do a fishing show, but I may just do sort of a grab bag of VR stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean that could just be one of the VR things you do, right? Like once a month is the fishing show.
There's a fishing show, and Josh wants to come fishing with me, but I would love to play like Demio with you guys.
Yeah.
It's
on
my
the quest.
favorite game right now.
Have me
It's
play the
so
room.
good.
Mm,
Yeah, no, the room is really fun,
yeah.
and it's a good story.
With
So
a strange
okay.
shared title.
All right, so more content.
More content.
That's the point. Yeah.
More better content. No, not better, but more content.
More
That would be a
content.
good-
It'll be worse, but there'll be more of it.
Yes.
Oh, we only get better. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's true.
True.
Yeah, we're really
When would
refining.
be a good time for us to talk about my potential?
Oh, we could do it like literally right when I click stop streaming.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Which, goodbye, everyone.
Yeah, goodbye. Thank you for joining the stream.
Bye.
Can't see me waving, but I am.
All right, bye.